Hey guys, Joel's coming at you with another reasoning session, and today I'm going to be talking about the root cause of discord, quarrels, and strife.
Come now and let us reason together. Come now, we can talk it over.
Now, if you like these videos, you can also check me out on Rumble or on Zappit. I post on there. It's just that YouTube is playing games with the algorithms and sources telling me to move this message to other platforms, because as much as YouTube tries censoring, no matter what they do, they cannot censor the light. They can't stop this message from finding the people that are ready for it. And sources lining us all up for a grand explosion of just source power into this physical realm. But with that out of the way, I'm going to jump straight into today's reasoning text. It comes from the epistle of James, the half-brother of Jesus once again. And he was literally the lead authority in the Church of Jerusalem back in the 1st century. But he says in the 4th chapter, "From whence come wars and fightings among you? Come they not hence, even of your lusts that war in your members?" And that's talking about in the community, among the members of the community, we have our own desires. And our desires, although we might think that they're from source, they actually come from our ego and our limited perspective in what we might want from this physical dimension. And that usually boils down to the material world. What are we desiring in materialism? You know, when we say we want things, are they actually material things, or are they things that transcend this time-space dimension? For example, I might want a nice car, and I might want a nice house, or even nice relationships, but those are all material desires, and they end at the physical realm. And while I might think it's good for me, it might not be good for somebody else. Like, take a relationship, for example. If I get that relationship, for me it might be good, but for the other person it might not be quite the relationship that they need on their journey. And actually, in terms of relationships, if I get that relationship, you know, maybe when I meet that person on that level, I'm going to realize, you know, maybe this isn't quite what I wanted in the first place. And then, you know, you spend time regretting the relationship that you're in. Same thing with a house or a car. You might want it, but then once you get it, you might realize, you know what, I'm really not cut out for this kind of lifestyle, or this kind of home isn't exactly what I need to fulfill what's really going on in my heart. Those heart desires, what's really coming up from the inside of you, and sources bringing to light in your talents, and really what you know you're called in this time space to accomplish, those are the desires that transcend materialism. And when we actually go after those and harmonize with those, everything lines up, not just for us, but for everybody involved, because source's perspective is that from a bird's eye view, literally from the highest point of the universe. And this harmonizes everything for everybody. What's good for your life journey is actually going to be good for other people on their life's journey, because source is looking at it in terms of this macro organism where we all function together as a community and move forward as a society, as a whole race of humanity functioning in an ecosystem in this physical dimension. But James continues when he says, "You lust and you have not. You kill and desire to have and cannot obtain. You fight and war, yet you have not, because you ask not." So he's talking about all the things that we do to achieve these material desires, right? First we want and we have not, so then we kill. And it doesn't just mean we physically kill others, but we can kill the calling within us and actually try and manipulate the physical dimension for just some material desire that we think we might want. You fight and war, yet you have not, because you ask not. So this thing escalates, right? We're fighting amongst ourselves. We think we want something that someone else has, or we think we want to be somewhere else because we're comparing ourselves to what another has achieved, or whatever their life story looks like. We're projecting their stories on top of our stories and not looking at our stories at their fundamental level. But he just goes on to flatly say, you have not because you ask not. If we really ask source and take the time to tap in and really commune with divinity and say, you know what, I want this, and we come to source with that reasoning mindset, you know, it's really just as simple as that. But we mustn't be asking from the material realm. Let's get it straight. And he clarifies this. You ask and receive not because you ask amiss, that you may consume it upon your lusts. He's talking about the physical desires, the ego desires. That's what this term lust means in this context. You know, it doesn't just mean sexual desires. It means the physical egoic desires. When we're coming at it from this physical mind, what our brain is reasoning out, and the logic that we're thinking, you know what, I think I need this in order to achieve this desire and to bring this about. What is the bottom line? Do you need the house to get you there, or do you need to change your character and just manifest that first and foremost? Because when you manifest that first and foremost, you're going to end up earning that house like it was just no thing. And he gets pretty graphic as he goes on. He says, you adulterers and adulteresses. He's talking metaphorically here, as we can see. Know you not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God? Again, that egoic desire is actually going to put you at odds with tapping into Source. Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of God. So if you're pursuing these material desires, man, you're not going to be able to tap into Source that's constantly beaming your life purpose, your destiny, your calling from within you. That's your soul calling, and it's not coming from materialism. Materialism satisfies for, you know, maybe an afternoon, maybe a day, maybe a couple days, but really we get bored of it pretty quickly and we move on and we say, you know what, I want something more. I want something even bigger, and we always have a new horizon. But with Source has new horizons for us, but we're just seeking Source. And in seeking Source, that's just the one thing that can open up all these other horizons for us. You know, Jesus even said, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. He's talking about, you know, seek these deeper things that transcend the physical dimension, and then everything needed to get you there, all these other things that you thought you wanted from the physical world, will be added in with that, because that's how Source is. Source is abundance. Source is manifested reality. Source is destiny, and Source is infinity. So we don't have to worry that, you know, Source won't give it to us because of some paradigm that the religious institutions say, oh, you got to suffer, you got to be meek, you have to be poor in order for Source to actually teach you anything. Source is literally abundance. And those of us that have accepted Source, that have Christ in us, when we get to the other side, we'll be walking on streets paved with gold. So don't limit yourself and just be singing, you know, I've got a mansion over the hilltop. You can have a mansion in this realm right here, right now, but you got to get your priorities right and not chase those egoic desires. You got to chase Source, and Source will line up all those other physical desires that you have, and literally they'll just show up at your doorstep. They'll just fall right into your lap, and one day you'll go from driving that old jalopy to driving your dream car, and you won't even have put in any effort in it because Source manifested it through your soul. So tap in and manifest your best life yet. When you tap into Source, really accept Source as master of your life, and all these things, your greatest destiny, your best life yet, will just follow. So I love you guys. I'll check you in the next reasoning sesh. Joel signing out once again. Agape, Salaam, Namaste, Shalom.